Hello, precious one. I welcome you to my YouTube channel once again. I want to ascribe all the glory to God for giving us life. We thank Him for His goodness and His mercies. And secondly, I also want to appreciate you for your support. May God continue to shower His blessings upon you. Today, we'll look at these topics. That is, the syllogistic fallacies and then causal fallacies. So under the syllogistic fallacies, we have what? The fallacy of affirming the consequent, the fallacy of denying or negating the antecedent, and then the last one is what? The false hypothetical syllogism. That these fall under what? The syllogisms. That is the fallacies under the syllogisms. And then the causal fallacies or error in cause and effect reasoning. And that topic too, we'll look at the post-hoc ergo propter hoc, and then we'll look at the confusing cause with effect. We'll look at this topic too, confusing correlation for causal connection, and then ignoring common cause. The last one will be the genetic fallacy. So this will be our topic for the day. So we are going to focus on these topics. But please, before then, make sure you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. After that, make sure you share the videos, the link with your friends. Yes, a lot of them will benefit from it. So please, try as much as possible to let your friends share it with your friends, because they will also benefit from the video a lot. Thank you, and God bless you for doing so. So we'll look at the first topic under the syllogistic fallacy, which is what? The fallacy of what? Affirming the consequent. The fallacy of affirming the consequent. In my previous video, I explained to you what a modus ponens is. I said modus ponens is what? The same as what? Affirming the antecedent. Affirming the antecedent. So this fallacy that we are coming to discuss falls under what? The modus ponens. It falls under the modus ponens, and that is the fallacy under modus ponens. So the modus ponens is what? Affirming the antecedent. But here, if you go and affirm the consequent, it becomes what? A fallacy of what? Affirming the consequent. Somebody will ask me, what is what? An antecedent, and what is a consequent? Okay, if I say Amma is beautiful, Amma is beautiful, Amma becomes the antecedent, and beautiful becomes what? The consequent. If I say all University of Ghana students are smart, all University of Ghana students are smart, University of Ghana students becomes what? The antecedent, and smart becomes what? The consequent. Remember what we did in the universal affirmation and the universal negation. I explained these things to you, so please make sure you go back and watch those videos. You understand them better before you be able to know more about the syllogisms. Okay, you need to understand the topics already discussed with you, the aforementioned topics, which is what? The universal affirmation and the negation. And you need to also understand the conditional statement. I explained these things to you. So I said that the antecedent is the sentence that comes immediately after if. Okay, let me give you a conditional statement for you to understand it better. I'm taking you back. So when you say, if I say, if you love me, then keep my commandment, it's what? A conditional statement. Before you know, I said if you love me, just what? Keep my commandment. So if you want me to know that you love me, then you must what? Keep my commandment. So the word that comes after if becomes what? The antecedent. So if you love me, keep my commandment. So you love me. If you love me becomes what? The antecedent. And then the word that comes after then becomes the consequent. So I said that if you love me, then keep my commandment. So where that comes after then will become what? Keep my commandment. Keep my commandment becomes what? The consequent. I hope you are with me. So, and if I say, if you want to pass your exams, then you must study hard. The antecedent is that you want to pass your exams, and then the consequence is what? You must what? Study hard. That is what? The consequence. Now, let's look at the syllogisms. And I said, let's look at the universal affirmation. The formula for universal affirmation is all A's are B's. All A's are B's. So we go in this way. All men are caring. All women are beautiful. Okay? I formed the sentence based on the formula I gave. All A's are B's. We don't know our A, and we don't also know our B, so we are using men to represent the A. So the A becomes the antecedent, and then the B, which is what? Caring. The B also what? Represent what? Caring. I said all A's are B's. We don't know the A, we don't know the B, so we use something to represent the A, and we use something to represent the B. So you say all men are caring. So the A becomes what? The men, and then the B becomes what? Caring. And here, the A in the syllogisms, the A always represents what? The antecedent. The A's are the antecedent, and the B's are what? The consequence. The A's are the antecedent, and the B's are what? The consequence. So the statement that comes first, mostly you ignore the all. So if I say all Nigerians are knowledgeable, all Nigerians are knowledgeable, the Nigerians what? Nigerians becomes what? The antecedent, or my A, and then knowledgeable. You know, remember that the all is already in the formula. All this are that. So you need not to add the all to it. Okay, they are already in the sentence. So knowledgeable is what? The word that is missing. So we have what? Replace the B with what? Knowledgeable. And we have replaced the A with what? Nigerian. So it becomes all Nigerians are what? Knowledgeable. So the B is what? The consequent. And the A is what? The antecedent. And then we said the universal negation is what? No A's are B's, or all A's are not B's. Example, no man is caring. No man is caring. So we have turned the statement. Negation means, when you say negation means what? Changing a sentence from what? A positive form to a positive sentence to what? A negative sentence. When you are changing a positive sentence to what? To a negative sentence. Changing a positive sentence to a negative sentence is what? Negation. So negate it. In mathematics you see what? Negate it. If I say negate 2, it means that I should what? Change it from positive to negative. So it will become what? Negative 2. So if I say all men are caring, you have to negate it. It means that what? To be no man is what? Caring, or all men are not caring. You get it? That is what? The universal negation form. And still it deals with what? The A's and then the B's. So the men becomes what? The antecedent, which is the A, and then caring becomes what? The B, which is what? The consequent. Now, I decided to take you back in order for you to what? Understand what I'm about teaching you. So now that you know what the antecedent is and what the consequent is, now let's look at this. Let's look at the fallacy for affirming the antecedent. In the modus ponens, you affirm the consequence. Sorry, you affirm the antecedent. You affirm the antecedent. So when they give you a sentence, all Ghanaians are hospitable. Okay, it is what? In a universal negation form. So when they say you should affirm it, it means you should use something to represent the affirm. When you say affirm the antecedent, you use something to represent the Ghanaians. Okay, use something to represent a Ghanaian, somebody or something to represent a Ghanaian, and then that is where you affirm it. So I say that Amma is a Ghanaian. Amma is a Ghanaian. So I've affirmed the sentence. That is all about the affirmation. Okay, Amma is what? A Ghanaian. Remember the universal affirmation. So that is the same thing. So Amma is a Ghanaian, therefore Amma is hospitable. That is it. This is what a modus ponens. But here, if you go and affirm the consequent, it becomes what? A fallacy of what? Affirming the consequent. So Amma is what? Amma represents what? The antecedent. Remember I said Amma represents what? The antecedent. And then, all Ghanaians are what? Hospitable. All Ghanaians are hospitable. So Ghanaians are what? The antecedent. Ghanaians is the antecedent. And then hospitable is what? The consequent. So Amma is what? A Ghanaian. So we affirm the antecedent. That's why I said I use Amma to represent what? A Ghanaian. Do you get it? Amma is what? The antecedent. And I use Amma. The antecedent is Ghanaian. So I didn't what? Affirm the consequent. So I use something to represent Ghanaian. In a case where I use something to represent hospitable, or I use someone to represent someone being hospitable, it becomes what? A fallacy of what? Affirming the consequent. Do you get it? This is all about what I'm teaching you, but I decided to take you through the modus ponens in order for you to understand it. So anytime you affirm the consequent, it becomes what? A fallacy. So here, if I say you should affirm this statement for me, you should affirm the consequent for me. All Ghanaians are hospitable. I will just use someone to represent the B, which is what? The hospitable or the consequent. So I will say that Amma is hospitable. Therefore, Amma is what? A Ghanaian. Do you get it? And that is what the fallacy we are talking about. A fallacy of what? Affirming the consequent. But if you say Amma is a Ghanaian, therefore Amma is hospitable, it becomes what? Modus ponens. But if you say Amma is hospitable, therefore Amma is what? Amma is a Ghanaian, and then it becomes what? A fallacy of what? Affirming the antecedent. Now let's look at the next topic. That is what? A fallacy of denying or negating the antecedent. The modus tollens. I explained to you that modus tollens is what? Denying the consequent. So the fallacy is what? The other way around. Instead of denying the consequent or negating the consequent, if you go and negate, I told you what universal negation is. Okay, so when you go and negate or you deny the antecedent instead, it becomes what? A fallacy. So that's why you need to always pay attention to these things. It's critical thinking you are doing, so you need to be smart. You don't just wake up and you form sentences like that. You need to pay attention to details. If you are forming a sentence, you have to be mindful of the words you choose carefully. If you are not careful with this, the modus ponens, if you make a little mistake, it will become a fallacy. The same way, the same thing applies to the modus tollens. Any little mistake, you commit what? A fallacy. So pay attention. That's why I decided to take you through the formula for modus tollens. So you know if you commit a mistake, instead of affirming the antecedent and you go and affirm the consequent, becomes what? A fallacy. So here is the same thing that is applied to the fallacy of what? Denying or negating the antecedent, or is the same thing that applies to what? The modus tollens. Modus tollens is what? Denying the consequent. And I said the consequent is what? The B. So if you go and deny A, it becomes what? A fallacy. Now let's look at this. We are using this same sentence. All Nigerians are knowledgeable. We are using that sentence. So always the sentence, the modus tollens and the ponens, they come. The first sentence, mostly they are in what? Universal negation form. Universal affirmation form. So all these are that. So when you get a statement like this, if you want to pay attention to this, if you want to know whether a statement is a modus ponens or modus tollens, we use the second premise or the second sentence to check. Because the first sentences are all in a universal affirmation form. So if you want to know, the premises depends on the conclusion, how the conclusion depends on how the premises go. You get it? So you make the conclusion based on what? Your premise. But if you want to know if it is a modus ponens, modus tollens, or it is a fallacy for affirming the consequence, or fallacy of what? Denying the antecedent, you need to check the second sentence. And that is where you used to know. So pay attention if you want to know whether the fallacy, it is a fallacy or not a fallacy. It depends on your second premise or your second sentence. That is where you use to determine it. Let's look at this one. So I said all Nigerians are knowledgeable, and all Nigerians are knowledgeable. So I'm taking you to the modus tollens rather. The modus tollens. Yes. For the modus tollens, I said that it is what? Denying the antecedent. So let's deny the antecedent here. In order to deny the antecedent, I'm not going to give you the formulas. The formulas are simple, but okay, you do. Let me give you the formula for the first one I did. The first one that I did. Let me give you the formula for that. So those that are interested in the formula, you can use it. So the formula for fallacy of what? Fallacy of affirming the consequence is what? All A's are B's. All A's are B's. This is B, therefore this is A. That's the fallacy of what? The modus ponens, of the fallacy of what? Affirming the consequence. Now we are coming to look at the second one. Whereas I said all Nigerians are knowledgeable. All Nigerians are knowledgeable. So we are coming to use we are coming to do the modus tollens first, and we look at how to what? Change that statement to what? A fallacy, or how to what? Negate it. Now, if I say all Nigerians are knowledgeable, we want to first what? Negate the consequence. So this is the modus what? Modus tollens. So please pay attention to whatever I'm teaching you. It is the modus tollens. I want to do the modus tollens first before we look at the fallacy. So we said negate it. So when we say you negate a sentence, it means what? You should convert it or change it to what? A universal negation form. Okay, that is all about what? The negation. And before you be able to negate it, you know your A is what? The antecedent, and the B is what? The consequent. Nigerians is what? The antecedent, and then the knowledgeable is what? The consequent. And it says what? Negate the consequent. So you use something, you first what? This is the two step to what? Negate a statement. And I said the real work of what? The modus ponens and the modus tollens depends on what? The second even the disjunctive syllogism, it depends on what? The second statement. Okay, the second premise. That's where the real work what? Begins. That is where you use to test whether it is a modus tollens or this disjunctive syllogism. So with this one, so we say that if you want to negate it, which is knowledgeable, you use something, you first change it to a universal affirmation form. So if I say you should change, use affirmator first. Sorry, you have to what? Affirm the statement first. Okay, so we say that I'll say that okay, Chukwuemeka is a Nigerian, right? So Chukwuemeka is a Nigerian. If you want to negate it, you will say what? Chukwuemeka is what? Not a Nigerian, right? Okay, so Chukwuemeka is not a Nigerian, which means that what? I have what? Negated or denied it. So this is all about the denying the antecedent. If I say deny it, it's just simple, negate it. So I use Chukwuemeka, and I affirm it what? I affirm Chukwuemeka, so which is Chukwuemeka is a Nigerian. So if you say negate it, it means that Chukwuemeka is what? Not a Nigerian. That is all about the universal negation. So now, Chukwuemeka is not a Nigerian, therefore Chukwuemeka is what? Not knowledgeable. That is what the modus ponens. Now, if you go and affirm if you go and negate the antecedent, if you go and negate the antecedent, then it becomes what? A fallacy of what? Negating the antecedent. The antecedent is what? Nigerians. Okay, so if I say all Nigerians are knowledgeable, Chukwuemeka is not a Nigerian. You get it? Nigerian, you remember I'm what? Negating what? The Nigerian here. It's not the knowledgeable or the consequent. I'm negating what? The antecedent instead of what? The consequent. So if I say Nigerians are Chukwuemeka is not a Nigerian, it means I've what? Negated what? The antecedent, and becomes what? A fallacy. That is all about what? A fallacy of what? Denying or negating the antecedent. Let me give you the formula for the fallacy of negating or denying the antecedent. So this is what? All A's are B's. This is not A, therefore this is not B. So that is the formula. So all Ghanaians are wise. Okay? All Ghanaians are wise. Kukwa is not a Ghanaian, therefore Kukwa is not wise. That is all about what? The fallacy of what? Negating or denying what? The antecedent. Now let's look at the last fallacy. This one is very simple. It's very simple. So that is what? A false hypothetical syllogism. False hypothetical syllogism means if two different antecedents share common consequence. Two different antecedents, they all share a common consequence. Okay, it does not mean that the antecedents are the same or they are identical. This one is very simple. Two antecedents, whenever they share the same what? Consequence, then you know that you are talking about a false hypothetical syllogism. Example: every table is a furniture. So the table is what? The antecedent, and the furniture is what? The consequent. And then we come to say that every chair is what? A furniture. So the chair becomes what? So the chair becomes the C, right? So the A is what? Table. The B is what? The furniture. And then the C is what? Chair. Okay? So if I conclude and say that, I conclude by saying that every chair is a table, it's what? A fallacy of what? A fallacy of what? A false hypothetical syllogism, or a false hypothetical syllogism. It's what? A false hypothetical syllogism. It's a fallacy. Whenever two antecedents share the same what? Whenever two different antecedents share the same consequence. And remember that the consequence is what? The furniture, and the furniture appeared twice in it. Table, every what? Every table is a furniture, and every chair is a furniture. You get it? But that does not mean that a table and a chair, they are all the same. So you can't come and say that every chair is a furniture. No, it's what? A fallacy. As another example, if you say all mangoes are fruit, yes, it is true. And all bananas are what? Fruit. Yes, it is true. But it does not mean that bananas are what? This banana are the same as what? Mango. They are different things altogether. Despite they fall within what? The same category, but that does not mean they are the same. So that is all about the false hypothetical syllogism. It's just simple. If you say all millets are carbohydrate, and all maize are what? Carbohydrate, therefore all maize are what? All maize are millet. It is not true. Maize is different from what? Millet. So that is all about the false hypothetical syllogism. So we'll look at our next topic. Now that we are done with this, we are going through we'll be going through our next topic, which is what? The causal fallacies. So under the causal fallacies, I explained to you earlier that we have what? We have the post hoc ego propter hoc. Okay, so when you say post hoc ego propter hoc, it means that this what after this, therefore, is because of this. So this happened, and the moment this thing happened, we are concluding that it is the one that would cause it. Let me explain it to you clearly so you understand it. If you conclude that it's because something happened just before another, then it causes it. That one becomes what? A post hoc ego propter hoc. Becomes what? A post hoc ego propter hoc. So let me explain it. Let me give you an example for you to understand it better. Let me give you a clear example for you to understand it better. Okay, so remember I told you that after this, therefore, is because of what? This. After this, therefore, because of this. If you fall down right now, assuming it is raining, a wind is blowing, and you fall down, you can't say you fell down because of what? The wind. Yes, it could be a reason, but that does not necessarily mean that any time you fall down is because of what? A wind. Do you get it? You fell down because it was what? A wind was blowing, and that is how come you fell down. But so anytime you fall down, that doesn't mean that because of what? Because of what? The wind that caused it. So you can't attribute it to what? A wind causing it. Let me give you an example. So example is what? As soon as what? I spanked my baby, Asamoah Gyan scored a penalty for Ghana. So whenever Black Stars need to score a penalty, I'll spank my baby. Yes, you punish your baby, and the moment you punish your baby, now Ghana scored. That does not mean that the goal happened as a result of what? The punishment you gave to your child, or yes, you get it. That doesn't mean that the moment what it happened because of that. It was what? A coincidence. So if you come and say that whenever Black Stars need to score a penalty, you spank what? Your baby Ella, then it is what? Post hoc ego propter hoc. And trust me, in your exam they are going to what? Give you some of these scenarios, and they are going to what? Confuse you with it. So please pay attention. I punish my child, Ghana scored. So next time if Ghana want to go, I'll punish my child, because anytime I punish my child, Ghana scores. It is what? Post hoc ego propter hoc. It happens in our daily life. It happens everywhere. Okay? Or you tell me that I sneeze and someone what? Give me money. So next time if I sneeze again, someone will dash me money. It is what? Post hoc ego propter hoc. Yes, that doesn't mean that the person gave you money because what? You sneeze. It could be the person just had compassion for you. He decided to just give you money. That doesn't mean because you sneeze. You're right, you get it? So that is post hoc ego propter hoc. Let's move to our next topic, which is what? Confusing cause with what? Effect. When you say confusing cause with effect, there is what? An established causal connection, but in your reasoning, if you replace the supposed cause with the supposed effect, then we say what? You have what? You are confusing what? A cause with effect. You are confusing a cause what? With effect. Example, if you say so if you say, if I have COVID-19, I will cough. So I'll stop coughing because I don't want to get COVID-19. You are confusing what? Cause with what? Effect. You are confusing cause with effect. Pay attention to the fallacy word. Confusing cause with effect. Okay? COVID-19, the cause of COVID-19 is not what? Coughing. The cause of COVID-19 is what? Not coughing. It is through what? Direct contact. It's through direct contact, and I think yes, COVID-19 spread through direct contact, and the effect is what you see is the coughing. So when you confuse the cause with the effect, then it becomes what? A fallacy. It becomes what? A fallacy. So you say you stop coughing because you don't want to get COVID-19. That is not the cause for COVID-19. It's not what? And that doesn't also mean that, in the second way, it doesn't also mean that anytime you cough, you have COVID-19. It is not true. Some people, those who have tuberculosis and other infectious disease, they also end up coughing without even having COVID-19. Okay, if you're having cold, you cough. Is that not it? So the moment you cough doesn't mean you have what? COVID-19. So if you say you are going to stop coughing because you don't want to get COVID-19, you are confusing cause with effect. That is it. Let me read. Let me give you an example. Confusing cause with effect. I noticed that people infected with COVID-19 sneeze and cough a lot. So I'm not going to cough or sneeze because I don't want to catch COVID-19 infection. It is confusing cause with effect. Let's do the next, causal effect. Confusing correlation for causal connection. Confusing correlation what? For causal connection. So here we say that the fact that two things happen at the same time does not mean that does not necessarily sorry, let me take it again. The fact that two things happen at the same time does not necessarily suggest that one brought about the other. Pay attention. When you say confusing correlation for causal connection, it means that two things happen at the same time, but it doesn't mean that one brought about the other. Okay, it doesn't mean that one brought about the other. Example is since the semester's lecture began, whenever Dr. Nancy Mounts is ending the lecture, the clock strikes 1 p.m. She must be powerful because she even moves clock. There are two things here. Dr. Nancy always ends her class at 1 o'clock. Okay, so it could be that is the normal time she has scheduled for her class. She starts at 12. She starts at 11 and end at 1. Okay, and you have also noticed that anytime she ends her class, the clock strikes 1 p.m. So that does not mean that she is the one that controls the time. Okay, so if you come and say that Dr. Miles is powerful because she can even control time, it's you are confusing cause. Sorry, you are confusing correlation for causal connection. The two things happen together, but it doesn't mean that Dr. Nancy Miles controls the time. Okay, it most happens. You can think about other examples and think about things that happens together, and sometimes we think it is the one that cause the other. It is not. Most cases they are not true. Okay, they are not true. And the next one, the next cause is ignoring or underlining common cause. Ignoring or underlining common cause. So this is where there are many correlation or connection, but not necessarily the cause, since there could be further conditions or events responsible for the effect. Right. So here, let me give you example. Okay, let me give you example. The example is my roommate both have laptops and they both got A's. in their UGRC150. So I want to get an A in the course. Should I get a laptop? Should I get a laptop as soon as possible? So the person is saying that her roommates are all having laptop, and they all had A's. So he also thinks that it's time for her to get a laptop because she also wants to get an E. Yes, the laptop contributed to their success, but that does not mean that they had the A because of the laptop. You can have a laptop and you still get F. You can have a laptop and you get E, and in the university, if you get a E or F, it is compulsory for you to resit it. If you get D, that one you can't resit it. But if you get F or E, you have to resit it. So that is it. So the moment they are using it doesn't mean that they are using laptop because and that is why they had the E. It could be that they are doing different things that you are not even paying attention to. They are doing a personal discussion aside their normal lectures. They are studying differently. They solve past questions. They do different things altogether. But you only you ignore those things they are doing. You ignored it and you only concluded on the laptop. So that's why you say ignoring. Ignoring or overlooking a common cause ignoring or overlooking a common cause. So you have left some behind. A friend, okay, two of my friends, they married a woman. They all married in the Apostolic Church Ghana. Two of my friends, they married in Apostolic Church Ghana, and they all became rich in 1 year later. In 1 year later, they all became rich. So I must also marry a woman from Apostolic Church because I also want to get rich. Yes, it could be that the ladies contributed to their success, but it could that could not be the main reason for their success in marriage. It could be that after marrying, the women are doing some things differently. They are really praying. They are doing different things, or the men are really working extra hard, and that's how come they succeeded. So if you say they married from Apostolic Church and you are also going to marry from Apostolic Church, yes, you can marry and you still not be successful if you don't work hard and do the things they are doing. The things you don't only attribute it to the marriage, but there are other factors that contributed to their success. That's where we say overlooking or ignoring a common cause. You have ignored the other cause, the things that could make or cause to change. You have ignored some of them and you just underline only one thing. That is what we are talking about. Okay, the next one is genetic fallacy. So genetic fallacy is very simple. It's when you reject or accept something because of where it is coming from. That is all about a genetic fallacy. Okay, so example, the theory that we are expected to memorize is the most recent reviewed, proposed by an American Nobel physicist. Okay, an American physicist who worked with the greatest nuclear physicists at the best laboratories in the world during the 1960s. So the theory must be true. Yes, the fact that a theory is coming from an American Nobel Prize physicist doesn't mean that it is true. Okay, you can see that a person is just pointing out that they should accept it because it's coming from an American Nobel Prize physicist, but it could be false. Okay, it could be false theory. So if you accept something because of where it's coming from, then it is what? Right now they have given you Kantanka car and then a car from USA, and they say, oh, the US car is the best because it's coming from US. It is what? A genetic fallacy. Could be that Kantanka's car is even better than the car that is coming from US. But you look at where the car is coming from, and then you reject one and you accept one because you think the car that is coming from US is what? Always the best car. Kantanka is producing big cars. Recently I saw some video. Hollywood, they were acting they used one of his cars to shoot video. Yes, Ghana, we have a lot. We have a lot of talent here, but we don't really appreciate things we do. Our brothers are doing things instead of us to support them. We be backbiting them, sabotaging them, and all our struggle, we end up pushing our money to other countries. We invest in other countries, and we leave our country like that. We are the cause of our own problems. We accept things because, yes, it's coming from America. Look at the theories we are learning in the school. They are all useless theories. At the end of the day, you complete school and become jobless. There's nothing for you, nothing in the table for you, nothing, for you. Our politicians come, they work on their own personal whims and caprices. No one thinks about you. You get it? It's because we don't even value what we have. Or when they fall sick, they go to what? America for treatment, because treatment, they have what they think they have the best doctors there, but they are the best doctors here who are even better. You get it? When they want to buy car, they go outside. Even to a point, some of these things, even toothpick, we even export it from outside. May God have mercy on us. So you reject something because of where it's coming from. Yes, because I am a Ghanaian, so that is it. And most often it happens. It happens if you are from a village, and someone is from America, and you are a lady, you have to choose. It's easy for the lady to choose. Very, it's 100% that she will choose what? A person from America, because he thinks you the one from a village, and then you don't have anything. So that is what is happening in our society. So the genetic fallacy is all about genetic fallacy. May God bless you. I'm done with the fallacies. So God bless you and continue to shower His blessings upon you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share it with your friends. And I wish you success in your exams. This is Johnson Praise. The channel name is what? Johnson Praise. Okay, Johnson Praise TV. So make sure you subscribe. And God bless you all. Thank you.